A quiet seat at the table. It began a few months ago, in a season of waiting. Before the surgery, I knew there would be a stretch of time when I would not be allowed to smoke. The thought was simple and practical. If I could not light my pipe for a while, I still wanted the videos to continue. I did not want silence where there had been a steady rhythm. So I prepared. I recorded several episodes in advance, carefully setting them aside like letters meant to be opened later. At the time, it felt responsible, thoughtful, necessary. And yet, when the days of recovery arrived and I sat down to edit those recordings, something felt different. The images were there. The familiar gestures were there. The pipe, the smoke, the small rituals that had become part of the channel were all present. But somewhere between the first cut and the final export, I felt a quiet distance. A certain warmth was missing. It is a strange thing to recognize that what you made with care does not fully carry the feeling you intended. I began to wonder, if I sense this absence, what does the viewer feel? If I notice the small gap between action and atmosphere, surely others do too. So I began watching. Not my own videos, but others. I searched for insight into editing, pacing, structure. I listened to creators speak about intention and rhythm. I paid attention to how scenes were introduced, how sound entered a frame, how silence was allowed to breathe. Slowly, ideas began to gather. What I realized was simple. I did not need to sit for an hour in front of the camera, saying nothing, letting time pass without direction. While that kind of patience can be beautiful, it can also drift. Attention is delicate. It needs purpose, even in quiet. I wanted something else. I wanted to create a moment, not a performance, not a lecture, not a demonstration stretched thin. A moment that feels like sitting together at a small wooden table, a cup of coffee warming your hands. Or perhaps a glass of whiskey catching the light, a pipe resting nearby, waiting to be lit. No rush, no expectation, just the shared understanding that this is a pause in the day. In this new format, the beginning matters. The logo appears briefly, then fades. Sound follows gently. The first movement is simple. A match, a lighter, the quiet draw of breath, the first curl of smoke rising into still air. There is no need to show every preparation, no need to explain each gesture. You arrive when the moment has already begun, as if you have just taken your seat. Then there is space, close images of the pipe, the texture of the tobacco, perhaps the surface of a cup, or the amber glow of a drink. If I am outside, the sky may move slowly above. Leaves may shift in a soft breeze. These small details are not decoration. They are invitations. They tell you that you are allowed to slow down. Only after that does the story begin. In earlier videos, I explained why I choose not to speak directly. I still believe in that choice. Silence has its own presence. It allows the mind to wander, to reflect, to fill the space with personal thoughts. The voice of Grandpa Spuds Oxley continues to feel right for these stories. There is a warmth and character there that complements the atmosphere I hope to build. It is a voice that feels like it belongs in a quiet room, somewhere between memory and imagination. This new structure is a step forward for me. Clear changes, intentional pacing, a stronger sense of purpose. It feels more honest, more aligned with what I want these videos to be. They are not meant to impress. They are not meant to compete with noise. They are meant to offer a small refuge, a place where you can sit without needing to react, a place where you can listen or simply watch the smoke rise and disappear. At the end, there is a closing gesture, the pipe gently emptied, a final sip, a lingering shot that fades into the end screen while the moment settles. It is not dramatic. It is not grand. It is simply an ending that feels complete. I would genuinely like to hear what you think of this new format. Positive reactions are, of course, encouraging. Honest criticism is just as valuable. If something does not resonate with you, I would be interested to know why. Understanding what you experience helps me understand what I create. My hope remains unchanged. I hope these videos help you ease off the accelerator for a while. I hope they give you permission to do nothing for a few minutes, to sit with your own thoughts, to let the world move on without you. Just briefly. In the end, that is all this is meant to be. Last February, Tabak Molen Haren quietly expanded their Hausmischung with a special Jubilee blend created to celebrate their first anniversary. A modest milestone, perhaps, 1 year, yet it carries a certain pride. A beginning marked not with fireworks, but with leaf, aroma, and patience. After spending time with their Emsland Mischung, I felt naturally drawn to this new creation. Curiosity does that. When a house develops something personal, something tied to its own story, you want to taste what they believe represents them. From the first opening of the tin, it felt promising. The tobacco was ready to go. No extra preparation needed. I filled the bowl without fuss, and it took to the flame with ease. No stubborn relights, no coaxing required. It simply wanted to burn. That alone already says something about a blend. It invites you in instead of making you work for it. Then the aroma. And I do not say this lightly. It is a wonderful tobacco scent. Warm and rounded, with a clear presence of almond liqueur rising gently from the leaf. There is a fruitiness woven through it, distinctly orange, bright, yet not sharp. Somewhere in the background, very soft but unmistakably there, lies a trace of vanilla. Not dominant, not overly sweet, but like a quiet note that completes the chord. The true character, however, reveals itself in the way it asks to be smoked. This is not a blend for hurried moments. When treated calmly with slow and measured puffs, it rewards you generously. The flavors settle into place and become layered. The almond liqueur forms the heart. The orange brings a lively accent. The vanilla, subtle as it is, rounds off the edges and gives the smoke a smooth, almost creamy undertone. If you rush it, though, it responds differently. Quick or frequent puffs will draw out a bitterness that does not belong to its intended nature. It is a gentle reminder that some things demand patience. Slow down. Let the ember do its quiet work, and the bitterness disappears, replaced by balance and depth. At one point during the smoke, I revisited the description of the blend to check the listed notes. Sometimes our senses play tricks on us. But reading about almond liqueur, orange, and vanilla while the bowl was still warm only sharpened my awareness. After that, the vanilla and orange became more pronounced beside the almond liqueur, clearer and easier to distinguish. It was as if knowing their names allowed me to recognize them more confidently. What I appreciate most is its approachability. It does not fight you. It does not overwhelm with artificial sweetness or aggressive flavoring. Instead, it offers clarity. It is easy to light, easy to maintain, and pleasant in the room. A blend that feels composed, especially when you give it the respect of a slow cadence. In my opinion, it is certainly recommended. It feels like a fitting tribute to a first anniversary. Not extravagant, but thoughtfully crafted. A blend that carries warmth and a quiet, celebratory tone. I am not entirely certain yet, but I have a suspicion that it would pair beautifully with a gin and tonic garnished with fresh orange. The botanical freshness of the gin, the slight bitterness of the tonic, and that citrus note could echo the orange in the tobacco while contrasting gently with the almond sweetness. It is a combination I intend to explore. For now, what remains is the memory of a calm bowl, a steady ember, and the sense that this Jubilee blend marks not just a year past, but a promising path ahead for the house that created it. Take your time. This moment is yours.